Afternoon, everyone.
Good
Good
afternoon, sir.
afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
We were discussing interviews. Uh, Today also we'll spend some time because I think I had rushed up in the last part in the previous session. So, do you have any questions for me? This is something that you are likely to be asked also in an interview. Whether you have any questions? So, do you have any questions for me on interviews? Sorry, I lost the network connection. Please stay online. to find a department. Can you please wait for 5 minutes? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I'm using the phone. The general network here is gone. Something has happened to the network. So I will not be able to share the screen for you from this mobile. So we were talking about interview questions, and the last thing that we discussed in the previous session was about the 10th question. We were discussing 10 questions, 10 most common questions that are usually asked in an interview. And the last question is they may ask you whether you have any questions for them. So similarly, I am asking you whether you have any questions for me regarding interview. And ആരെങ്കിലും റെസ്പോണ്ട് ചെയ്തെന്ന് എനിക്കറിയില്ല, കാരണം ഞാൻ ലീവ് ചെയ്ത് പോയപ്പോൾ ഇതിലുള്ള മെസ്സേജസ് ഒക്കെ പോയി. So do you have any questions for me about interviews?
Sir,
Yes, Aishwarya.
അതെ, ഇപ്പോ ഇന്റർവ്യൂല് വീക്ക്നെസ് എന്താന്ന് ചോദിക്കാൻ എന്താ പറയാ?
Okay, good question. Nowadays, this is very common question, so everybody plans something. Okay, so about weakness. Usually, what people say is people say things that are strengths, which actually are uh, projected as weaknesses. So nobody will say that I'm a lazy person. Okay, nobody will say that I'm an irresponsible person. Nobody also will say that they are easily distracted. So all these things usually will not say. നമ്മൾ നെഗറ്റീവ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങൾ നമ്മൾ പറയില്ല. പക്ഷേ പോസിറ്റീവ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങൾ നെഗറ്റീവ് പോലെ നമ്മൾ പറയും സാധാരണ. Okay, so usually they will say, normally people will say that they are perfectionists. So this is a good answer that you can say. I am a perfectionist. So that is considered to be a negative quality, which is usually positive for the company. Somebody who is a perfectionist means somebody who always tries to achieve perfection is called a perfectionist. So that is a generally a negative quality, but appears or becomes positive for the company. So because it creates more benefit for the company. Or somebody else will say that I work too much. When I sit in the office, I forget the time. I sit for late hours and then reach home late. So that is my weakness. Is it actually a weakness? It is a strength for the company. Personally, it may be a weakness for me, but for the company, it is a strength. So this is a kind of, these are the kind of answers that people usually give. That is weaknesses which can also double as strengths. Strengths ആയിട്ടും മാറാൻ പറ്റുന്ന വീക്ക്നെസ്സുകൾ മാത്രം ലിസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുക. അല്ലാതെ ഏത് നേരത്തും ഇങ്ങനെ ഇരിക്കുമ്പോൾ ഉറങ്ങും എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഒരു വീക്ക്നെസ് ആണ്, പക്ഷെ അത് നമ്മൾ പറയാൻ പാടില്ലാത്ത വീക്ക്നെസ്സാണ്. അതായത് എനിക്ക് ശ്രദ്ധ കിട്ടുന്നില്ല ഒന്നിലും എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഒരു വീക്ക്നെസ് ആണ്, പക്ഷെ ഇന്റർവ്യൂവിൽ പറയാൻ പാടില്ലാത്ത വീക്ക്നെസ് ആണ്. അപ്പൊ ഇന്റർവ്യൂവിൽ പറയേണ്ട വീക്ക്നെസ് സ്ട്രെങ്ത് ആയിട്ട് മാറ്റാൻ പറ്റുന്ന വീക്ക്നെസ്. അതായത് വെൻ ഐ ആം ഡൂയിങ് എ വർക്ക് ഐ ഫർഗെറ്റ് ദ ടൈം. Forgetting time weakness ആണ്. പക്ഷേ when I am doing work, if I forget time, it is good. For whom? Not for me, but for the company. So that is a strength. For the company, personally, it is a weakness for me. So there are some weaknesses which you can mention like this, which can double as strengths for the company. Did I answer you, Aishwarya?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Any other question?
സർ.
Yes, Surya.
സർ, നമ്മൾ സെൽഫ് ഇൻട്രൊഡക്ഷൻ പറയുമ്പോൾ കുറച്ചുകൂടി നന്നായിട്ട് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ കുറച്ച് അവരെ ഇംപ്രസ് ചെയ്യുന്ന പോലെ നമുക്ക് പറയാനായിട്ട് അതിൽ എന്തൊക്കെ ഇൻക്ലൂഡ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും അല്ലെങ്കിൽ എന്തൊക്കെ ഒഴിവാക്കാൻ പറ്റും?
ഇൻക്ലൂഡ് ചെയ്യുന്നത് നമ്മുടെ അച്ചീവ്മെന്റ്സ് ഇൻക്ലൂഡ് ചെയ്യാം. ഈ അച്ചീവ്മെന്റ്സ് എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ പലപ്പോഴും നമ്മൾ വിചാരിക്കുന്നത് നമ്മൾ എന്തെങ്കിലും പ്രൈസ് കിട്ടുന്നത് മാത്രമാണ് അച്ചീവ്മെന്റ്. It is not the correct understanding of achievement. Achievements is whatever I have participated in. I may have just been a member of a science club or a debate club or a reading club. I must have been a member. That itself is an achievement. That shows the spread of your presence, of your personality. Are you confined only to your textbooks and your subjects? Or are you a person who can go spreading around in different fields? Such a person is wanted by any organization. So your participation in different aspects in the campus, because now we are going for jobs as freshers. ആരും ഇവിടെ എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ്ഡ് ആയിട്ട് പോകുന്നില്ല, മിക്ക ആൾക്കാരും freshers ആയിട്ടാണ് പോകുന്നത്. So our focus will be on our experience in the campus. So we will be focusing, we have to focus a lot on how we can project our presence in different areas in the campus. For example, നമ്മൾ ഒരു ക്വിസ് കോമ്പറ്റീഷനിൽ പങ്കെടുത്തു. I have not got any prize, but I participated in a quiz competition, which means that itself is a learning experience for me. So what are the different things we have been participated in? What are the different clubs in which you have been a member in? What are the different small skills that you have got? You may be not very good at painting, but you may have done some paintings or drawings. ഒരു വരയെങ്കിലും വരയ്ക്കാത്ത ആരും ഉണ്ടാവും. So you can mention all those things that you have done. What are the small things that you have participated in? What are the different achievements that you have got for your department? What have you done as a team in a project? All these things can be mentioned as your achievements in your self-introduction. But the problem with self-introduction is, ഇത് നമുക്ക് അച്ചീവ്മെന്റ്സ് പറയുമ്പോഴായിരിക്കും ഇതിന് കൂടുതൽ എലാബറേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറയാനായിട്ട്. സെൽഫ് ഇൻട്രൊഡക്ഷനിൽ നമ്മൾ അധികം വലിച്ചു നീട്ടാതിരിക്കുന്നതാണ് നല്ലത്. കാരണം ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് പ്രോബബ്ലി ദി ഫസ്റ്റ് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ ദാറ്റ് ദേ ആർ ഗോയിങ് ടു ആസ്ക് ഇൻ ആൻ ഇന്റർവ്യൂ. കാരണം അതിനെ ബേസ് ചെയ്തായിരിക്കും ഇന്റർവ്യൂ ബിൽഡ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. We are going prepared for the interview, but the interview board has not come prepared for the interview. നമ്മൾ ഇന്റർവ്യൂവിന് പ്രിപ്പയർ ചെയ്ത് പോകുന്ന പോലെ അല്ല ഇന്റർവ്യൂ ബോർഡിലുള്ളവർ, അവർ പ്രിപ്പയർ ചെയ്തിട്ടൊന്നല്ല വരിക. They will be basing the questions mostly on the things that we say in our self-introduction. So when we mention things in the self-introduction, it has to be as brief as possible. It should not be very long. So maybe we can conclude our self-introduction in 5 minutes so that they can proceed with their questions. And I mean, generally nowadays interviews are not very long. Normally a job interview lasts from 20 to 30 minutes. Even IAS interview പോലും ഒരു മണിക്കൂറിൽ കൂടാറില്ല. So 20 to 30 minutes is what they generally spend for an interview. So the maximum that you can spend for your self-introduction is 5 minutes. So within the 5 minutes, we have to include the basic qualifications that we have got. Avoid as much as possible mentioning too much about the family, because we are not going for a marriage interview, we are going for a job interview. So we'll be focusing on our career. So the area that we are interested in, the areas that we are skilled in, and the areas that we are familiar with. All these things can be so these are the things that we can include in a self introduction, that is about ourselves. Avoid talking about the family and avoid negative things in the beginning. Okay, never talk about weaknesses, etc. in the beginning. Always tell the positive things and never talk about things that we have left out or about the previous company. Negative things should be avoided all through the interview, especially in the beginning. So these are things that we should take care about in the self introduction, but it should be as brief as possible. Did that satisfy you, Surya?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Surya. Anyone else? Today we will conclude by 1 o'clock because the network is not working. I'm unable to connect to the network. So bad. Any other questions? Do you have any other questions you can ask? Because we are going to wind up by 1 o'clock. Because there is a network outrage here. That is how you say that when there is a network trouble, this is the term that you can use, network outrage. Okay, so that is what has happened here. That's why I'm unable to share the files or the text. Any other questions?
Sir, hello sir.
Yes, tell me.
Sir, ഇന്റർവ്യൂ ബോർഡിൽ ചോദിക്കാണ് ഇപ്പോൾ ഡു യു ഹാവ് എനി ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ ചോദിക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ എന്തൊക്കെ ചോദിക്കാം?
Yes, Suganya, thank you for that. You can ask any question which they have not already talked about. Some simple question about the company, which shows that you are really interested in that organization. Some simple question which will not land them in any trouble. Not asking them whether you are the best company in the world, etc. But some question about the company, whether you are, suppose it is a company which is manufacturing something, you can ask them to how long have you been doing this exporting business, or to how many countries do you export these things. I'm interested in knowing that, etc. Something about the organization which shows that you are interested in the company. Because most of the things about the company are available in the internet. There is no need actually to ask, but the question is to show that we are interested. അതിനു വേണ്ടി മാത്രമാണ് നമ്മൾ ഈ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ ചോദിക്കുന്നത്. So the questions that we ask should show that we are interested in the job. Not asking any question is not a good idea. എപ്പോഴും അത് എല്ലായിടത്തും ആരെങ്കിലും എന്തെങ്കിലും ചോദിക്കാനുണ്ടോ എന്ന് ചോദിക്കുമ്പോൾ ഒന്നും ആരും ചോദിക്കാതിരിക്കുന്നത് ഷോസ് എ കൈൻഡ് ഓഫ് ഡിസ്റെസ്പെക്ട്. നമ്മൾ വിചാരിക്കും ചോദ്യം ചോദിക്കുന്നതാണ് ഡിസ്റെസ്പെക്ട്. നമുക്ക് ചോദ്യം ചോദിക്കുന്നത് ഇഷ്ടമല്ലാത്തതുകൊണ്ടാണ്. Generally we don't like being questioned, isn't it? Even in a class, if the teacher asks questions, People do not like being asking questions, but it is not like that when somebody makes a presentation. So I am asking you, do you have any questions? I like to be asked questions. That's why I'm asking you. It's not because I don't like to be asked questions. I like to be asked questions, but it may not be the situation when we are a student being questioned by the teacher. So here we should ask questions, but questions which are not very complicated, but something very simple. So that is what I feel, that we should ask some question. Don't say that I don't have any question. Never say that I don't have any question. Say ask some simple question which is based on what you discussed or something that they have not said in the interview. So that is it, Suganya. Anyone else? Okay, if you have no other questions, can we conclude then today? Shall we conclude and take up it in the next class? Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you for joining. Have a nice afternoon. Goodbye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.